Hey guys, so just into the game. Thanks for some views. And well, just to mention, we have here the Beamer. We're gonna get into some racing. Check it out. We have just been building up the RPM to at least be stable with this one. I'm sorry, so sorry that actually we've passed Amelia's race challenge and we're trying to continue down it. So this is a new video. We have the token cups here. We're actually gonna start off. We'll be doing some cooler races. We're gonna hop into the Audi R8. Oh, we have the Audi R8. What was gonna be conducted and showing is that the R8 is having now a new transmission put in. We're gonna be putting down the new transmission to the Audi R8. Excuse me. So, starting off on how to adjust the car's uh, transmission is now that once you add the point in, a point only starts off with the power ratio because that V6 or V8 piston has the curriculars, and the after creates a transition for that new tooth. Over the transmission line is the expectancy of a new number that's supposed to be a supported number. Most transmissions get updated with a different transition of teeth each time the number becomes too high. All cars are almost going to have a different transition. Some will be either made for the output, true racing, drifting, off-roading. They'll have different speculations for the accelerating. And what we're going to do here is that the start off is for the new teeth. You add a couple, and one set becomes a ridicule number that'll be as high as you want it, which for that RPM maximum minimum is that you have to reach the certainty of that real realization number. That way the fuel line doesn't underscave on overusing much. Starting off in this CrossFit, we start off with fifth gear or fourth gear, and continuing now that we add in our couple numbers. I like to add in numbers that'll add up. So for that, the number for fuel relay systems is formula of also the cross figure. As the transition is there, the speed now of 1 cubic centimeters in there also shortens the accelerometer to have the faster acceleration to that speed. On this rotated circumference, now adding an after use of the number, a high number represents half of the position of one diagonal curve, and then the diagonal curve with the highest number and the reciprocating of a special number is also going to lead your pattern into a faster rebuttal. Alrighty, so making a template, formation of the car, transition systems, just as easy as the car with power, is that now that you want a car with its accessibilities to the transmission, a flywheel delays the car much. So depending on cars, the pull push factorings of the cars really is that the numbers now are deficient, and when they're deficient, it creates a lap system of the rotation. So numbers have to be curated more than saying that the velocity is already in a car. In there, the velocity for transition keeps your car into the sectioning for your second, third, fourth. So you put more power into the car system, and then you short delay by that. Then that is actually adding in a new toe tunes. Yeah. um when I say that, it's creating a new pattern as well around that circumference system, which, to defy really the whole system, that one number has tooths, and then the other one should have a tooth that goes faster. That way that one is already collecting. So if you put it at the end as a power, then you're realizing that understudy over a factor of your density, and then times that by under factor. The over factor is a percentage rate, which really cuts a 1 through 5 second mark, which then that 1 through 5 seconds is actually 5 of 10, 4 of 10, and it would be a decimal number. In that decimal number is where you shorten out the time expectancy. Ooh, look, a shooting star. Wow, Mustang. Yeah, that one's gonna be tuned so soon, dude. And just like this Camaro right here of the interactions, this is gonna be the newest modded car I'm gonna have alongside that Mustang. The only difference, this Mustang is gonna have a cut system. So if you have heard cars, now the accelerations of the higher fifth and fourth, sixth, so those numbers have a cut that sounds like it'll push in the all 6 pistons of that camshaft. Your new tune for the gear would have a reciprocation backwardly. That way, that like how I did a response, that response stays the same power. I'm gonna change the second gear, and then have third cross figure. What I mean in the moments is that now that, because there's these 3 designs even to the patterns that you put in, the push or a full pull. A full pull that people say now is like, okay, on high gear, if you're doing a 30 roll and you pull, it should have more torque, which should be push, but it will be pretty light unless you know what you're doing. Your calculations go into the high resiliences. Let me show you what I have put here on this Camaro. Copywriter, do you have full clearance at the end of the harbor? Yeah, we have full clearance for test subject 1 of high stakes, like 9,566. So we're gonna see this off on 33, like alphabetics of enumerators and counting. So roughly 68,000 numbers of all the way up basically, of these congruent factions. Numbers that bring up the horsepower will create the airway system. Sometimes that airway number is in a safe space. So the calculations that I have in here and of this one is a transition you'll see what the dilation from first, and then the pre numbers that go into it. Well, I have 1 and 2 at, and conversions are like 1, 2, 3, and 4 is 5, 6, and 7. As 5 is 6, 6 is 7, and as to continue, a method that needs the accelerometer is that method also transitions that the pattern rotation has the speed congruent of pull or push. Now that pull has semi-ridicules as push, then it becomes a bigger number with other teeth as pull. So what you're creating is contrasts as first contrasts of the preliminaries of dealers' cars in the stanza to create stamina. Now, this is the prototype for a first being first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Other words. As you see now, the last 3 are congruent of already being able to be placing. This one's the current setup. These last 3 go into the newest staminas from the early teeth going into one clump, which dividing having V6, you shouldn't be wasting much power, but this isn't power wasted until you realize these numbers on this prototype are already running a 3.44 off like 4444 to 1, and the calculations are almost dilating now that you're wasting an extra 6 compressions on these ones. The ratio into the ITUT, which is 533, which the I stands for a point decimal of the faster second, so it's canceled I, T, and then UT for this transition as a full 40 like D times 7 like off on R is the newest one, but can chance itself on an I. The car can obviously barely be reaching 186. Not until the later protoform, I'm trying to reach the 200 Camaro tune. I've made my mass index to the 121234 just for catch up to see if it's a new puzzle piece. New vehicle off in the distance really is the Lexus, and here we do have it matte black for 4th of July celebratory. Is an all black garage. You'll be seeing off 2 garages, 2 of my favorite garages with black. You'll be seeing these 2 up and up. This is one of the most louder tunes. You can realize you hear more. We'll go test it out and be playing with the gimmicks. We'll do crew cups. Continuing the crew cups. How far is the chances for really collecting? The stamina rate really have to pushing your car in the 6 seconds, 6 to 300 milliseconds off from 3. If your car's not faster than 3 and 6, it takes you to almost pass the car. 3 milliseconds should be easiest for the transitions. These crew cups will put you up against similar cars. So that's a reminder that when you find out you've reached the powers, is that your liege revolve is now basing itself off uh, high compression, which means you're using 3.5 compression, being 2, but a full liter 0.1, which uses it into 3. And I shortened that for the free reusing numbers. That way, a free reusing number over the teeth has already had another teeth that those numbers, it recites into being cut like 0, 7, 3, 7, 1, 4, and then 2, 9, 1, 7, 9, 4, up and up. You'll realize that that 2 was a delete number of a full liter, of 1 liter. Once it recites that it has a double number in that number, so if it continues, it'll go 3, 0, and then 5, 6, 2, and 4, 1, 8, 1, 5, 2, and will bring an extra number of gasoline that once you have another set of teeth, and that set of teeth, usually the car has now those teeth, which reuses itself for, and being the reciting number as piston 4, and will reuse another piston and other time. So it would reuse 4 probably quickest. So that means you reached the number chancings, uses this number to chance, and then set the second number after chance should be a number deleted from itself. Using it, you would cut back and it'd be 4, 3, 5, 4, 7, 9, 7, 4, 4, and 1, 6, 8, 6, 4. And those numbers multiplied, or in those, aren't like exact to the multiplication of the liter over biomass index. And well, biomass index over another terminal number, let's say x, times a number of the 1 through 5 of 10, 1 through 1 of 10, 5 of 2 of 10. 1 of 10 will bring you to the 2 seconds. 2 of 10 will bring you to 3 seconds or shorter, depending on your math structure. New black paint. I'm sorry for the black paint on this beautiful Ferrari. We changed it from red to black. So this is kind of like off-putting for me. Is this on more of the wheels, high horsepower. You gotta think the stamina rate is almost there, and the black just shuts it off like it's not no super snake. Talking about super snake. Well, okay, on from that. Here's a car that really showed it a show off on new number. So a new number doesn't always have to a new set of teeth doesn't always have to show the transition number uh as much as it is. It becomes a phobic number. So then on a new set of teeth, those terminals now recite the same politician, where it deletes itself out of the other number. That other number would become a number that from the past one would be in the count, but 1 through 6 doesn't always sound like it was going to be easy. So then when you hear 1 and have the teeth in 1, if you had 18 teeth changed, so you would hear that you had a up curve and the appendability of saying you shifted. Those ones would be another pattern, but then you could reverse and have the same number, and that would be a shortcut where you have to improve the storyline of it. The fuel always continues as it'll be used bigger, but then you go into the next number and then that becomes low again. The rotation camshaft will come back using it like it remembered the gas mileage there, and will be on its certainty of the path again. So yeah, this one really has that one installed. So from first to second, it'll use it like it's a heavy car of fuel into the transition, and the next teeth would be like resilient, but count it like it needs more power. So the power from that one was a little bit more. The power to the next powers of set 3 teeth that are after those 3 set teeth would be issued numbers that you improve more later. Here, the newest black Nismo, which I'm probably gonna keep it like this. It's really a pop out in the garage. It's a real pop out. You see, you'll see another Charger. That's the red eye. I have the 50th anniversary. We need to collect more fame, and I want to get more reputation. We installed BBSs and Dunloop onto Yaris, I believe. Yaris body kit, dark, all dark. My favorite car here is the Stingray. You'll be seeing another Stingray. This one's tuned. Let me know in the comments. You want to see old classics, or do you want to see German and classic tunes? Classic cars also tuned, or maybe just hatchbacks and front wheel drive. Or if you want to learn about the newest of the collectionings of the edgings numbers, I always could hop up with information about those. The collections, just like here, you have a gas cap on the back of this car. Oh, or like, or if you say that your car is like less on the speed, most cars hold themselves up with a V6, which the misplacement can be lower because of drip pan. If you think more abilities are like that in cutoff systems, there's less factions that you show off. Then you think about the car's curation when when clump up the number, a car's length reciprocates into several pieces, like cockpit, the over cove of the windshield, rear, or the under bumper study. If you think, like, here's a better image where they used 552 at the back, and then 3 1 5 5 7 5 5 2 9 9 9 3 5 8 4 of numbers to make a front. A 9 could be a better edge along the front. The 1 can mean that it has its certain of a number. The more 1 is, the more uh, diligent that car summons of itself. And like many, you see, I have two Nismos. Here's one, and of course, here's two. They are different. This one's a premium. I mean, allegedly, I say that a premium almost is Nismo, but this is a premium counted. So what you'll see different actually is the length of this front hood, and you'll see that the rear edge of the edgings are actually cut off, and you'll see that is used as much. This one has a harder edge on the front, but it's less to tell, as it'll be a 5. It'll be a 5, but a 7, and then 5, just to like cover it as both ends. Like, imagine thinking of the weight bar and then having two 10s on each side. The car's number will show up like it's 5, and then closest to the middle of that 10 weight, a 10 weight will show up with a 5 1 5, and then continue to the middle being 6 4 and then 2. But that middle bar doesn't have to have the other end like copied, but it would have a certain of a number, or less or more. If it's more, then it's probably gonna be a thicker car, thick. Just showing that off on the customizing part. A car would have probably vents on itself. It has vents, or the angles are probably closer cutted, so it'll be almost slide off. That's uh, computer analogy brought up to live reenaction, re-indulging into action, I believe. But don't mind me, I really just see a car because I like a nicer looking rear score of the windshield. All respect, but I don't even see the Dodge Viper that much. I don't see a Ford Mustang that much. I indulge over process of elimination, so cut off of, cars have their looks. Most utmost, the car has a space, so the car's a space does have its cuts for reasons that it's not the speed, but it's home commuted faction. Most of the display, and I see the corner edge and I see that most cars would be new and untouched. Like this one has a rear camera, it's untouched. It's what a nice car. And that's probably touched actually. That's finishing touches. But like a nice car, like Siege LF1 Lotus, they have room for almost a long camshaft that brings up the horsepower, easier tuning. It has the process eliminating trunk space, and its race proportion of a short edge, and it's more race typical versus the Corvette luxury reused sport um contends itself over the priority of the air foliage. Besides much to talk about though, we do have carbon fiber on this new Corvette before, and I didn't think that the carbon fiber would look good, but it's just the body kit itself. So this is wearing body kit. It came in a red. This one's pretty like off on the fire edging. So you know, I'm not sure of the body kit motor form, but like issues that lie are kind of splitters. To me, like the hard edging, you see the splitter has the middle perfect cut or perfect edged. Like sometimes I see it's kind of nice, like it's fitted sexy. Most out curved bumps, fender flare piece add-on pieces have chorused edges. So like the newer look is special treated curves over the car, and well, these ones are almost fitted. Most of the cars, such as that Honda S2000, almost it cost me a fortune for the paint and tires and rims. The body kit was an add-on. You have the hood. Here's this engine. Now for the startup of a car S2000 or any typically the Lotus, Audi, Volkswagen. Uh, Misfortunately, you talk about the car being good. I've mentioned in previous videos, you find a car and collect the inference over the transmission or over position of how far you think the insurance will go for your car. I looking at other insurances. Other insurances obviously are big on taxing you because of the coverage of car, because it's new. Looking at it for like long distance road trips, saying you spend the gas mileage and you get hurt out there instead, then it's more severe to think you're lost. So you save your space on, well, if I lived in the city, I'd rather pay for high gas prices. That way I could drive as freely as possible and out on the streets or highways. Like I live in California. The biggest freeway is the 5, and so it takes you up on the north side of Los Angeles, or north side of Los Angeles, for a free view, and then it connects to the 22, which is just about on the bottom side of Big Bear. So now to then, the gas prices do come, but to think about driving far, you're sorry. I just had a pigment deleted from my head. Uh, uh, on travels, the sequences you think about now, you want to upgrade cars. If you upgrade like your favorite car, or you think about the air intake problem because it cools down your V6 Dodge Ram. Your V6 Dodge Ram has a sludge already put in. You think, oh well, maybe I can drive faster, and it keeps the car warm. That's some things of fixed failures. Some things, your commute. Yeah. Well, because cars are just out to like on your tires, you go for the traction racing, then you're probably gonna be spending 506 years. Or like, if you say that you go into it and you want to be racing, then it's probably each 2 years, but your tires should last 5 years, 6 years. This racing analogy, that you race the fuel and your insurance says that you don't have money to go out of the state. Well, then you said that you wanted to basically be at your commute point of entry, and be in there on time. Well, then sometimes your timing is because you don't drive economy wise enough. Most often, the go getter is that you live in this super suburb area that, if you had the beach near, then it's full of um home revenue places like surfboardings, or there's other places that are like, if off in the distance, your favorite place is an amusement park, there's a whole lot of commotion, and you really say that you save your money for prior prior things, but then you think about your car, almost never. That's almost one thing versus saying you would drive out using your car and keeping it up on a greater action, or you want to drive it out, you would drive faster. Going on a vacation, you'd have to drive faster. It's kind of a delay moment that your fuel does heat up. Here, California, it will heat up. The next over is a desert, Sacramento desert. um, Besides the point of that, then you feel free to almost say your car in a home, and home is well for driving your commute, and it's almost relayed over and over. Then you have problems later because the transmissions now relate almost like a puzzle, which doesn't matter. Using your inferences on really how far you go, you shouldn't be putting your foot on the accelerometer for that long. But suggested sometimes it's good putting it down, stepping the pedal once, but not holding it, taking it off for dealership rent, or driving out of the state. Recommended 37, 40, 40, 50, 49, 50. and out on freeway, interstate, it's always good to take it to 2 miles to the eighth and pushing it, because then the rest of your fuel mileage is based onto your transmission. If you repuzzle your transmission, 6 gears spin already continuously. It's not safe. Like, that's why most are bearings. Then they're spinning slowly, and then that's why you have the harder acceleration. This S2000 is gonna be almost fully equipped. It doesn't have transmission, so it's off. I've been buying transmissions for every other car. So this Beamer, I believe, has transmission, or it's waiting to be installed. Yes, installed. Yep, installed. That doesn't always mean that it's reliant. Not really. Most cars are reliant because you refix the transmission, but cars are already uh over indulgent for the track path. Some track paths will use it. So once you have a car moving, 1 gear, 2 gears, and then third gear, fourth gears, not like using them like that, but one will use its teeth collection, because the camshaft is having 6 pistons that work spiraling. Spirals. It spirals and it has the conjunctions. So to triggering now, you trigger the real set that says it's an accelerometer. Then when you put down onto the accelerometer, the 87th of 1 gear, so 1 gear to the 87th, counting it, or to double it and being in it, would be a more heavier stray path later in the week, yeah, basically, or later in the years, later in the month. Fifth isn't as used, but you go to use it, and then it's going to be ruined. It's ruined. Yeah, I have two Beamers. I have a Vantage. So also, like, in installments, I'm bringing in the camshaft. This one's gonna be upgraded. This is all I'm gonna have on it, and transmission is here. So yeah, I've been updating all the inner correlation parts, like lightweight, it's much, tires, the NOS, the engine part, partially the engine. It is running the equivocal rotation magnetic spinner. I say it's magnetic because the inside has bearing, or it has springs, and it's ran over its magnetic change twines, because on high propulsions it'll be a pull, it'll be a normal pull, and for the camshaft it's less of the strain. This right here obviously enlarge, or no, it brings out a full delete of exhaust and brings in an alloy exhaust, which might be, for some cars as this one, it's still cleaner because it's a bit longer, and then they'll put the reused for cleaners that'll go inside it, the sponge cleaners inside. Uh, this one's pretty good, but by then, when you have it as steel or when you have it as alloy, it's lighter. Steel is just going to drag the car, so not always lengthened, but now it has this exit fuselage. Then versus having the sludge bubble up and it goes into there, so you have much pieces to clean. The bigger conduction spring injectors are almost a bigger piece, but replacing two doesn't do much unless you go into the computers. uh Re-jolting a bigger head is now the faction has more compressions, so it's put on bushing, and then it reciprocates the whole thing again to the pattern, and it finalizes the injections. The injections will be it'd be storing the room, and you have more of the heat, the compression. So I know it's kind of hard to figure out, because then it's also creating the hot workout. This Dodge, I mean, of course, Dominic Toretto's Dodge Challenger 1970 doesn't. I don't believe it has the installment, because it doesn't waste gas. He's always fixing it. Cool shout out to Dominic Toretto. Uh, but in fixing the coils, that the suppressions is why it has the kickback, so it has springs. Those are what's always getting fixed. After a while, it collects smudges, muck. This is a gorgeous, one of my favorite cars, because it fits all black. It fits the muscle car tires. I mean, not tires, no, the rims. I adore these rims. These are fine rims. And yeah, I think this one is tuned. So I was gonna test it out. I'll show y'all the test. But like, just bringing it, not to put it down on on Vin Diesel, of of it, that this compression rate system is actually handleable in the Dodge Charger. The train system is more receiver, and the camshaft, it doesn't need to have much room. The teeth itself on its circumference is already pretty good. The news of its dilation is based on the camshaft power. The fuel actually hangs itself to have its better stamina. So when the car has its acceleration, the drip pan has an intermodule that gives just enough fuel, but bearing that the compressions into the actual of the area now just challenges one piston. After tuning systems, then his contrast and counter residuals come into reusing the one gear, because he uses it as one, and then you'll hear 3-5-1 receding 6, and using 4 and 6 again after 1 2, and then 6-4-6. So the calculation would almost be exact. It's not no bad, but it is more cash down out of your pocket. There is also taxation of that. Sometimes the numbers will be wrong, and not saying that it's minor, but causing that type of strain on mechanic companies. Also ask you for the taxation of more, because on supply they also ask you for registries and almost to examine your car, so it's valuable that your car isn't always spending gas. Some to the degrees is that now when they change 1 through 6 of those, then they actually turn out that uh, the to declare your car has misfunctions. Then they title your car a resume or presuming new counter state and fuel deductions, and then fuel deductions to a percentage rate. Now they change it, and then the influences. Now they want you to do what's called the whole challenge of uh you being corporately founded over your own car. So now, not that you only have people working for that, but some places will cause you to place more cash down because they put your car to that. It's a safety's regulations and assistances that they have you wanting corresponding your car to your biomass with extra help power. They also collect your powers transitions transmissions, and they ask for the degree that is as the tune setups. So the final drive is the degrees 3.08. So to that, it's a collective inferences. Now they show off your car needs the fixing. Not all people that work on the car knew that your your car needs a realignment of the teeth, which it can actually be fixed. You put a number to a point decimal almost any time. So that's a waste of time and money. It's a heated structure of re-evaluating your gears. Just as much as when you go to the gas mileage, your or when you go and driving your car over, it could use more gas mileage, but your car's CPU will restrain all part components until it has completed airfoil in the transmission. Now to then, the newer of them of a mechanic fixing your car means that they have to go in, and they wouldn't put that information unless you give them the cash amount after. Sometimes it requires gold. It requires ingot gold, because ingot gold is more heavier than a slab uh diamond. And sometimes they will have you with a car after telling that you've driven a certain amount of miles. When they see that traction effort after turning on the car, that's also what they say is a chance of charging, which is pretty hard when they say now it needs diamond. Not your car needing diamond. Them paying you diamond. You paying them diamond. You paying them ingot. Well, now, because when they say so, you pay gold or you pay gold ingot. That is almost as used for when they say, oh, the priority is now that one cash dollar is the deficit percentage. So that's always something you want to look into. The same thing as rentals, that when you rev your car, that or when you drive it long miles, your gear will spin again. It'll spin over much. So that's why they say it's there, and they hear the traction effort in dealer or in mechanic or rentals, that they sometimes fix them. They'll fix them and it'll be harsh to tell. So that's why it's also that cash deficit. Here, here we have the Bugatti Bolidi, a win car. It's one of my favorite, except for those caps, red and blue. That red and blue, it doesn't match the color tone of the car. The car is all blue. But newest generation of the Bugatti has these beautiful suicide doors. Of course, it has these suicide doors. We have to see the interior. See this interior. The Bolidi, straight manufactured, full carbon, two-piece setup, and then a separate body on bushings. It really makes up for actual track racing in the diaphragms that you study. That now, when a car has bumps, when a car has too much power and it'll get overheated, of course the car is going to have a straight delay or composition settling in. This is just for turning. You see the turning setup, it's straight, so it's using a reinforced formation of the suspension, and it's been modified just promiscuously. And finding out that now a car has stapled its uh, design. This Dodge SRT Hellcat is one of them, and Dodge, along with the Shelby Corvette or the Shelby Cobra, and all Indy F1s and NASCARs, all use the traction such as that one, or the suspension such as that one. For this one, it uses a 3-prong setup in the rear. The Bolidi uses a 4-prong normal, but then it has a sway bar that's connected to half. It's a really fine structure if you ever go and seeing a Bolidi in car shows. Like, don't spew information, but it is more that the image itself is pretty off for the newest car and suspensions. That the new Hellcat actually comes with a new form of suspension. This SL Coupe, I believe, has the 5 prongs down to the differential for sways because of natural caused RPMs. Maximum RPMs really cut itself over the rotations, so then they had to have the installment one once and over the back differential. And then for customizations, this one has a better transmission setup than what it was at. Of course, you can see what proportionals. So uh the inflections are always because of your traction setup. When that is like rear wheel, front wheel, all wheel drive, this is obviously the tune customized, and we do kind of almost get the launch, so it's to prevent uh disenablement of the transmission. So everything's based on pick and uh bobby pin. Yeah. So that axle has a stronger bobby pin, that it might just, that because it's thick, because it's power, it's a heavy force to the G force, even in those G force in the transmission, G force differential, G force off of your body because you're separated but you're held in. G force, G force, go G force. Oh, over carrying powers will just like in the Camaro. We'll actually be go taking it out. We'll, well, uses of car is the differences of now having your transition of the body's front. So my favorite, this Camaro, I have fell in love with this because of the pure emblem and the grill. It's still on the grill. Like that's what actually brought it. The STI WRX has, well, not wrong, but it kind of goes on the hood or parts with letters. You notice Mustang has, well, the first Mustang had the three lines. They had the three lines on the side. Now this one actually says different specs. So the different cars were actually different. It's for the differences with the aim for their capture of the car. Here, this car, no, not this one. The Camaro is now that air air from the air intake can actually uh, hold itself to the counter air fronts. So now with tunings, we fixed it up more. So now the air intake has more than enough power. It's held optimal. Wonders to the V8, V6 persistences, just like the cooling system for the air conditioning, the air system for the air intake. You have to fit it all in, but it's just one image to another image. The inner frame holds itself to the front piecing and then strides itself as one thicker piece on the top fender. Counterpart is most of the body fitment with electronics, the CPU system, handleable. I mean, really, it brings the naturalities vasted because now a car is different from its inside. The steering system has fitting prior to, when you say fittings, so air intake has this cover, the bumper. The lights are second piece of setups. Bumper goes on as well. Electronic lights, it has a set of high beams. It has the set of headlights. The fenders audible. So now you do have this framework around the whole engine. Like I said, it's one pretty masterpiece car, piece to piece car. I'm talking about game cinematics. Cinematics. Am I right? Oh, we'll be racing this blue Dodge. We'll race him. Let's see how fast the Dodge is. I'm pretty sure. So as the setups, they ratio your car's setup as either slowest or easy to the minute, or if you're faster, then they hook you up against racers that have this sports car. Their sports cars, even normal tunes that are barely handleable. But here you can see we take off pretty straightforward, ahead of time. Honestly, ahead of time by 5 seconds, but catching up to the next millimark of 215 seconds to the milliseconds, and then still being 2.5 seconds later than being if you were a car following a car in front of you. So this car is caught up on a time realm compared to, so now you won't see a Camaro tuned like this unless over 7 8 18 times, 17 times of tuning later, which it's a spaced amount, like 14 months. And this has the traction effort of first gear. I'm not gonna quite use 1 2 1 2 3 because it's not ready. It's just built up as a little lump. It's just used just as vigorous. But later on in my YouTube, uh, you'll be seeing the Camaro very much improved, as well as all this great information. I'm gonna sign out. Much pleasure talking and speaking, giving information, provided information. Much help. Thanks for the support. Give this video a like. Subscribe. Watch other videos. Thanks. That's this main Matt tapping out. Late. Just a little bit more skits here.